All right, guys. So in this lesson, we're going to go ahead and write and evaluate expressions. So let's go ahead and start with the first one here. Evaluate 3.6x plus 4.5y when x is equal to 3 and y is equal to 7. So what we need to do here is just substitute the x and the y into the expression. So what we're going to have is 3.6 times, and in place of the x, we're going to have x is equal to 3, or just 3 here, and then plus 4.5, and instead of y, we're going to have the 7. So 4.5 times 7. And what we get when we multiply 3.6 and 3 is 10.8. And then we multiply the 4.5 times 7, which we're going to get 31.5. And when we add them together, we are going to get 42.3. All right, so let's go ahead and start with our second expression here. We have 5.5r minus 8.35s when r is equal to 12 and s is equal to 4. So we'll rewrite the expressions with our substituted values. So in place of the r, we're going to have 12. So we have 5.5 times 12 minus 8.35. And in place of s, we are substituting the value of 4. So we're going to have 8.35 times 4. And now all we have to do is use our handy dandy calculator and evaluate those values. We're going to have 5.5 times 12, which is going to give us 66 minus, and 8.35 times 4, which gives us 33.4. And when we subtract 66 minus 33.4, we are going to get 32.6. So again, these problems are fairly easy. All you need to do is substitute the values of r and s into the expression. And then in this case, very easy expression, all we had to do is multiply and then subtract the two values. All right, so here we're just going to have to translate the English into mathematics. So let's go ahead and read it. Write an expression that represents the weight of an object that weighs 12 pounds and increases by 0.5 pound per month. So initially, the weight of the object here is 12 pounds. So let's go ahead and write that down. The initial weight is 12 pounds, and it's increasing by 0.5 pounds every month. So increasing would mean to add the number of pounds it increases per month. So we see here 0.5 pound per month. So we can write down the 0.5 right after the addition. And the key word here that we're looking at is per, which in this problem means to multiply. So we're going to multiply the months, or m, as it states in the problem here. So our final expression will be 12 plus 0.5 m. That is that the initial weight is 12 pounds and increases by 0.5 pound per month. All right, so here we have another expression here. Evaluate the expression for the given value of the variable 1/3 x plus 5 when x is equal to -6. So all we need to do is substitute the value of -6 into anywhere we see x in the expression. So we have 1/3, and now instead of having x, we're going to be multiplying by -6. So we no longer have this because we no longer have this x here because x is now equal to -6. So in place of that x, we put a -6 there. Of course, they are being multiplied, and then we rewrite the final part of the expression, which is plus 5. And now we're very, very, very accustomed to these types of multiplications. You know that we just have -6 divided by 3, which is going to give us -2. But let's say you didn't know how to do that. Well, it's as easy as changing the whole number here into a ratio or fraction and putting it over 1. So that -6 is now over 1, and we multiply across. That is the numerator times this numerator. So 1 times -6 is -6, and then the denominator of 3 multiplied by 1, which is going to give us 3 times 1, which is 3, and then plus 5. And now we can see a little bit clearer the -6 divided by 3, which is going to give us -2, and then -2 plus 5. And this is the same thing as saying 5 minus 2, which is going to give us 3. And that is our final answer. So let's go ahead and evaluate this expression here. We have 0.3k minus 4m when k is equal to 20 and m is equal to negative 2. So now all we need to do is substitute the values into the expression. So we're going to have, let me write this in blue. Whoops, we have negative 2 here. For some reason I wrote that, oh, there we go. It erased there. We have 0.3, and instead of having the k, we're going to have 20 because now k is equal to 20 minus 4 times m is now negative 2. We're just substituting the value of m equals to negative 2 into the expression, and now we multiply. So we're going to have 0.3 times 20, which is going to equal to 6, and then minus 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. And now we have a negative times a negative, which is going to equal to a plus, or adding here in this case. So we have 6 plus 8, and 6 plus 8 is simply 14. So the expression is equal to 14 when k is equal to 20 and m is equal to negative 2. All right, let's evaluate this expression here. Negative 50 plus 5 over 13p when p is equal to negative 26. So again, all we need to do is rewrite the expression with a new given value. That is negative 50 plus 5 over 13 multiplied by negative 26. And of course, we're having a fraction being multiplied by a whole number. So we're going to have to change that whole number into a ratio or fraction. And now we can multiply across. So the numerator times the numerator, which is 5 times negative 26, is going to give us negative 130. Let's rewrite the expression here. And 13 times 1 is going to be just 13, so that's what we have in the denominator. Now we can see that the negative 130 divided by 13 is equal to negative 10. So we can go ahead and rewrite that as negative 50 plus negative 10. And here we have a plus and a minus. And a plus and a minus in the multiplication rule says that it changes to a minus or a negative. So we're going to have negative 50 minus 10, and our final answer is just negative 50 minus 10, which is negative 60. So the expression is equal to negative 60 when p is equal to negative 26. All right, so here we have a word problem, and all we need to do here is translate the English into mathematics. Let's read the problem out. Mark loads a crate that weighs 22.5 pounds and 12 boxes that each weighs 11.25 pounds into the truck. What is the total weight of the crate and the boxes? So Mark loads a crate that weighs 22.5 pounds. So we can immediately just say that 22.5 pounds is the total weight of the crate itself. But we need to figure out what the weight of the boxes are. So let's underline that. 12 boxes that each weighs 11.25 pounds. So the key word here being each. So in order to get the total weight, we're going to have to add from the total weight of the crate plus the weight of each box. So the weight of each box here is 11.25 pounds. The word each gives us a hint of how much each box weighs, which is 11.25 pounds. So we're going to be multiplying 11.25 by a variable x. And that variable x is the number of boxes that there are. And it tells us that we have 12 boxes. So we're going to have 22.5, which is the weight of the crate, added the 11.25 pounds per box, and we have 12 of them, so we're going to be multiplying that 11.25 by 12. And 11.25 times 12 is going to give us 135 pounds for the 12 boxes. So all we need to do is add the 22.5, and that will give us 157.5 pounds in total for the crate and the boxes. All right, let us take a look at this problem here, our final one. A freight train traveling at a rate of 22.5 miles per hour is 60 miles from its destination. how far from the destination will the train be in 2.5 hours? So let's go ahead and underline some of the keywords here and numbers. So it tells us that the train is traveling at, or at least the freight train is traveling at 22.5 miles per hour. So what that means is 22.5. The keyword here is per, which in this case is to multiply by every hour that passes by. So it's 22.5 times h, or just 22.5 h. And it also tells us that the freight train is 60 miles from its destination. So what we're going to need to do is subtract the 22.5 hours from the 60 miles. So that is 60 miles minus the 22.5 miles an hour or per hour that it travels. And now the question is, how far from the destination will the train be in 2.5 hours? So now it actually gives us a value for h, which is 2.5 hours. And all we need to do now is substitute that value into the expression of 60 minus 22.5h. And what that's going to look like is 60 minus 22.5 times the 2.5 that it gives us. And this will give us the destination, or how far it is from the destination. So 60 minus 22.5 times 2.5 hours is going to equal to 3.75 miles. So the train traveling at 22.5 miles per hour, which is 60 miles from its destination, in 2.5 hours, it will be only 3.75 miles from the destination.